is good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Mathana, and welcome to another special edition of LGRN Reviews. On this special episode, we are reviewing episode 3 of the HBO Max TV show, Winning Time, Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. And I am with my main man, Rob Snark, like always and forever. Rob, how are you, my man?
We're almost married by this point.
Yeah.
In a nice way, though. In a nice way.
The Magic Johnson to my Doc Bus.
Oh boy, I think that gets a
the-
little close at the end. We're getting a little close.
Yeah. But of course, I'm Doc Bus because I got more charisma than you.
Oh,
And I would look good. And personally, I would look good in his outfits.
You're saying I'm the talent? I'm the talent around here?
Yeah, sure.
I'm Showtime?
You're Showtime.
Showtime Snark.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not the first time I've ever been called Showtime Snark.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm lying. I'm a liar. That is the first time.
That's
Probably the only time.
That's what they call him in bed. All right.
Showtime.
All right, Rob. Let's get right into it, man. Episode 3.
Yeah.
We're so the TV show is kind of a Larry Bird centric episode if you think about it more,
100%.
as well as it's now in the off season of the Lakers' devastating loss to the Houston Rockets, a team that was under 500. They were 40-42. They made the NBA Finals. I think one of the only teams ever to have an under 500 record and make it to the NBA Finals. They unfortunately lose to the Boston Celtics, but now it's all about the machinations and the drama of the offseason between coaches, players, owners, front office people. But we also get the side of the other half of the dynasty. People think, how important is Larry Bird to this story? Larry Bird is extremely important to the rise of the Lakers and Magic Johnson's reinvention and reinvigoration and recapturing of that title. Rob, how do you like the show overall? How'd you like this episode overall?
My favorite episode of the season so far. I thought it was great. Yeah, it's Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Two forces that absolutely needed each other. They fed off each other. That rivalry brought each player to greatness, I would say. Of course, all the talent in the world between them, but just that fire to beat the other guys really lifted themselves, lifted their team. I'm glad we spent more time with Larry Bird. Learned some things about him that I had never known before. Maybe you can understand a little bit why he's as cold, it seems, as the way he is or whatever, what he had to go through, finding his dad like that. It's not the best experience.
I didn't know that. I knew that he came back from Indiana University. That I knew. That I knew. I didn't know his father committed suicide. That I didn't know.
I do like how they showed him when he went to state, when he went to practice in his jeans and his boots and stuff like that. So overall, a fantastic episode. What do you think about, before we get on to more of the episode, Jeff Pearlman, your buddy,
my guy,
maybe one of your best friends in the whole world.
Yeah,
let's just say it right now.
Close personal friend.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah, sure. On a bit of a social media blitz right now, getting people to try watch the show, because they're not gonna keep making more of these. Nobody else can promote it with the work stoppage going on. Like, he has to be the one. Like he says, like, it's not, and he's saying, I'll be fine, guys. It's not for me. It's for everybody involved in the show. Needs to start watching this thing. I like what he said also, that you do not want this show to end in the 1984 season for the Lakers. You want the show to keep going on. There's so much more story to tell. So, here's hoping. Here's hoping more. I guess I don't really look at the numbers or anything like that. I just enjoy the show for what it is. So, hopefully, we'll be getting through to the end. I would say it was in 1991. I think this thing go to.
Well, man. Like, the first episode, the very first scene of episode 1 of the season was him in the clinic getting the diagnosis about AIDS.
Yep.
Or HIV.
Oh,
he's HIV positive.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry.
Spoiler.
It's season 1. It's season 1, Rob. It's season 1.
They didn't say what was happening to him.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry y'all didn't know that Magic Johnson's HIV positive.
Yeah. He is not the most famous man who's HIV positive who ever lived.
But it has to get to that. It has to get to the announcement at least. Yeah. They have a documentary. It has to be in the announcement, and then it has to be the famous All-Star game where he comes back. Like Like we have to go to at least there. Like, but here's the thing too. Jeff Perlman also wrote a book about the 2000s Lakers, so we could extend winning time into the 2000s, in the late 90s, early 2000s with Kobe and Shaq.
There will be a gap. There's going to be a gap called the 1990s.
There will be a gap. There will be a gap where the Lakers kind of disappear.
Yeah.
Where actually, you know what's funny about that, Rob? Where the Lakers and Boston disappears.
Yeah.
In the 90s, they just vanish off the face of the earth. It was the Bulls, but the Bulls' biggest challengers yearly in the East were the Pacers and the New York Knicks.
Well, in the beginning, it was Detroit.
Oh, Detroit, yeah. It was Detroit, and early on, and then it was the Pacers and the Knicks. The Knicks led by Pat Riley.
Oh yeah, I thought you were just going to say "On the Floor" by Patrick Ewing. I thought you were just going to shove more Patrick Ewing out.
No. It's well, I'm trying to keep it connected to the winning time.
Very good, very good.
So yeah, they kind of like the Lakers and the Celtics kind of like just poof, just vanish.
That's it.
Just vanish. Really, you know what I mean?
I can't remember a single '90s Boston Celtics team, to tell you the truth. Not a single one.
Yeah. Well, no, because the problem is the Celtics were supposed to, you know, speaking of Larry Bird, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ruin something about Larry Bird. He ended up having chronic back problems in his career, and the Lakers
maybe from wearing cowboy boots. Maybe from wearing goddamn cowboy boots.
Well, no, the problem was he when he went to Indiana, he fixed up his house, and I think when he was like repaving his driveway, he injured his back. And Brett Auerbach's like, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
like what are you doing? Like what are we doing here, man? Like you crazy? Like what are we doing here?" And then
$400 is a lot of money to anybody.
Yeah, but then they drafted these two youngster wings back in the day, and Len Bias and Reggie Lewis. The thing about those two players, here's the problem about those two players. They both passed away. Unfortunately, a little too young. Len Bias had a drug overdose literally 2 days after he was drafted.
Yep.
Reggie Lewis had a heart attack. He had a cardiac event at Boston, at the Boston training facility, where he just collapses. And back then we didn't have the AID machines that you can, shock people when they, you can, if you
defibrillator.
Yeah, defibrillators. Like they weren't in every gym, they weren't accessible. So back then, a cardiac event, people were like, what's going on? These are healthy young athletes. So actually, young athletes and athletes in general, the biggest thing that kills them are sudden cardiac events.
Still happening to this day.
Yeah.
Look at Bronny.
Bronny James happened, but thank God when Bronny did it, he was in the USC gym, and they ran quickly to him. They quickly got the defibrillator and shocked him in the system, did some CPR, and he was brought back to life. Thank God. But Reggie Lewis, unfortunately, was not. He unfortunately couldn't have that. So the Celtics, that's why they kind of went, because they were looking for that next guy. They drafted two of them, and unfortunately, two of them passed away. They ended up getting Antoine Walker, and then he was there for a bit. And I think Paul Pierce was there for a bit. There's that, but nothing much. But yeah, this episode, brings up the other side of Larry Bird. They go through years. They kind of, from 70, 74.
Yeah, 75.
75. And then he kind of just doesn't play ball for 3 years. Doesn't really care for it.
Works back in French Lick.
Yeah, he's I don't know. He's like a
factory or a warehouse or something like that. He just plays pickup ball with his buddies.
Yeah, his homies were working at somewhere, I don't know where it was. And then the Indiana State assistant coach is just kind of stalking him. He just stalked wherever Larry Bird went. He stalked him.
Yeah,
and he said, "Hey, Larry, man, you're amazing." And then he says, I think the assistant coach says something great. It's like, you can't be this great at something you don't love, Larry. And that's when Larry's like, all right,
Yeah.
okay. And then he shows up to the gym in jeans and a cowboy boots. And he says, do you want shorts? You want shoes? And he's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I love the show where it's like, freeze. He actually played like this. You're like, and you're like, and then you're like, yeah, I kind of believe it. Yeah, he definitely did this.
Yeah.
But more off, like it was kind of just showing like the evolution of Larry Bird, Rob. You know, and then his conversation with Red Auerbach, and convincing him to come out and sign with him, and saying, you think they're gonna draft you after you lost to Magic?
Yeah.
And then he's like, yo, so Red, you would you draft me? He's like, I'd draft you 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And that's how
every day and twice on Sunday.
Every day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because you're a Celtic, Larry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. But Larry, but Rob, I don't think this was the interesting part of the show. It was it was good that we saw the Larry perspective. But my favorite thing about the show, Rob, was the Paul Westhead, Mike Tebow, Pat Riley front office machinations of the show.
Some friction.
Some friction. Yeah.
The boardroom.
Yeah. So Paul Westhead is it's now in fad that you hire 2 assistants. He hires his friend Mike Tebow.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact about Mike Tebow: he was actually the former head coach of the Washington Mystics, the WNBA team. He's actually a WNBA champion. He's now the GM, and his son runs the team as the coach. So there's
he said he's the winningest coach in WNBA history, I believe.
I believe he is. He is.
Multi-gold medal winner in the Olympics as well.
I think he is as well. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. So Rob, what about that? You were seeing the button of heads, the destruction. What's going on?
You look back to last season, and Paul Westhead, when he shows up as an assistant, just seems how nervous he seemed and stuff like that. And here, he looks so confident. Like, it's weird. It's the head coach. And where he used to just sit and be quiet and sit behind, now that he has that seat at the table, he's the boss. Like, Bill is quiet, the logo's quiet. He just tells everybody what to do now. I'm like the head coach for the Lakers. It seems
Jerry's not quiet, Rob.
Well,
is that what we're doing now? Is that what we're doing? We're letting this bleeping mother bleeping make decisions? Bleep, bleep. Like, damn, Jerry. And Bill's like, Jerry, calm down, Jerry.
I love that.
I love him, man. So continue, Rob. Like, the big issue, Rob, is, funny enough, they're talking about former Lakers GM Mitch Kupchak.
Yeah.
Rob, I love this show so much. They're dropping these names like, oh yeah, let's talk about Mitch Kupchak. I'm like, yeah, I know Mitch Kupchak. As the GM, I forgot he used to play. Yeah. I forgot he used to play. And they thought he was going to be their great white hope, Mitch Kupchak. They're talking about him, and they're going to trade Jim Chones. And, Jim Chones, that scene with Jim Chones, Rob, take me through your emotions on that scene where Jim Chones is like, hey, man, you screwed me over, Pat. You said you were my friend. What's up with this?
It shows the personal side of trades, doesn't it? Especially when it's coming out of the blue. And the man just bought a house. He, has a wife. He has a couple of kids and stuff. Now he has to uproot them. He has to move them all to Washington, right? I thought the job that the actor did was fantastic in bringing that fire and stuff like that, and trying to get Westhead out. Westhead hiding in his office. And it's Pat Riley that's the man to come out and try and settle things down. I don't think he did all that well, but at least he was the one with the guts to try and talk to the man face to face. And I know, from history what's going to happen and stuff like that going on. But I really like seeing Jones and stuff. A guy that you haven't seen much in the show yet. So it's interesting that they have him out just for this. Really, this will be his only scene in the show. Yeah, unless for some reason they had a great game against the Lakers the next year, but I doubt it.
Yeah, what I like about that scene is like those are the players that end up getting traded, right?
Yeah.
The person that's been on 4 teams in 5 years. It's not that they're bad players, that they're throw-ins in trades. They're you know, they're having a great year, but the team doesn't think they are sustaining, so they trade them because their value's high. The player's name is Ish Smith in the NBA. Ish Smith and Jeff Green, they won an NBA championship with the Denver Nuggets. Jeff Green has played for like 9 teams in his NBA history. Ish Smith has played for 15 teams. 15 teams, and he's only been in the NBA for like 14 years. He's been traded.
You could also say 15 teams wanted him. That's nice. That's a nice thing.
Yeah, you can. But I'm happy that him and Jeff got rings.
Yeah.
Because of that. I'm really happy about that. But yeah, man, it's like it shows you, man, like these are people, man. It's when these teams preach about loyalty and respect. When a player wants something, like, oh, why does he want that from us? I thought he's gonna be more respectful and loyal to us and give us a discount.
Yeah.
When teams can just trade you at any moment. Like at any moment, it shows you the hypocrisy and the fan that's brainwashed. How like, yo, man, the player, man, the selfish player. But like, imagine, Rob, you're a hotel manager, bar operator, Rob.
Sure.
Imagine if your boss said, you know what, Rob, I'm trading you today. You're gonna go work in Toronto tomorrow at another bar, and you're like, wait, I've been in Winnipeg for 25 years. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, Rob, you got to go. You got to go to Saskatchewan. I'm sorry.
No, that's absolutely not. I retire.
I'm sorry.
I retire.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you would probably retire, Rob, but sometimes you don't get what you want. You think Jim Jones wanted to be traded to Washington? Your boss can be like, sorry, Rob, you're going to Nova Scotia. I'm sorry. We're trading you for Nova Scotia because we found out this other bartender who's slightly younger is he looks like Tom.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah. You know, Tom Cruise. He looks like Tom Cruise. He does that fancy schmancy mixology stuff. And but yeah, Rob, see you never, because you're in Nova Scotia now.
Oh my God.
Like, imagine that, Rob. You're working and out of nowhere, you're like, oh, now you're working in New Brunswick.
Halifax.
Yeah, you're like, wait, like, yeah, man, like
trailer park.
I like that scene, man. I like that scene. Also, too, man, Pat Riley's like, yo, this coach just screw me over. I told Jim he's not going. And then, you know, he has a conversation with Paul West, and Paul West is like, I need you to respect the chain of order, chain of command.
The pecking order.
I really wanted him to say chain of command. So I can be like, chain of command, McNulty, chain of command. Shout out to Lance Reddick. God rest your soul.
And there's the irony in this is that he's had Mike Tebow. He hired him, and I guess without telling anybody.
Yep.
And used him to go and scout Kupchak.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's undermining the pecking order because he's the coach. There is a GM, there is an entire scouting staff, and he's undermined all them too. So I don't think the irony should be lost in him talking about the pecking order to Pat Riley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, like, you know, did you talk to Bill for the new assistant? Did you talk to Jerry? Did you talk to the other Jerry? There's 2 Jerrys. I just realized that.
There's 2 Jerrys.
Yeah, there's 2 Jerrys. Like,
one's a doctor.
Shout out to Dr. Bus. So, like, yeah, and he's getting a little too big for his britches. And Pat Riley, you know, Rob, like, he was like, hey, man, I'm the one who believed in you. I'm the one who told you to go after what you wanted. You wanted to be the head coach of the Lakers. You knew it. I knew it. Everybody knew it. And I told you to go take it from Jack McKinney, because Jack McKinney thought you were a loser. He thought the reason I hired you is that you have no ambition, you're a loser, and you're okay with being second. But I'm the one who said, you go take it from him. You go take it because you deserve it, and we deserve this. And Pat Riley's like, you screwed me. You're disrespecting me. I know there's a pecking order, but do not disrespect me. Because to get respect from your subordinates is to give respect.
Yep.
You're entrusting them with important tasks. You show them the level of respect. And Pat Riley's like, you're spitting in my face. I don't appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Rob, the other big storyline of the episode was, again, the Bus family.
Yeah, we should talk about them.
Yes.
Jeannie.
So, Jeannie being a gangster. Business.
She has her father's head for business for sure.
She does not care about Johnny's love life.
No. Before we talk about that, before we get into that, you host a show, co-host a show on this network, actually on LGRN, the Highs, the Rally. Now, there was a tennis league. Would you have been a fan of tennis leagues?
This first, like I never knew this.
Yeah,
like
I had no idea either.
I mean, and like there were teams.
Yeah,
like tennis teams.
I think she said her team was the Los Angeles Aces.
Or was it Lasers?
Or is it the Lasers? Oh, I thought it
no,
was
the Lasers was the soccer team.
Soccer team.
Was the indoor soccer team.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And they're talking about a team in San Diego.
Yeah.
A team that's folding. And they had a pretty good player. So she figured she could try and go get one. And one of the greatest of all time, and Martina Navratilova. I like how she said the name and nobody really understood who she was.
Yeah. Martina Navratilova, by the way, still owns the most titles in all of tennis history.
Yeah, she's a big bragger.
Yeah, I think she has like 30 doubles titles and like 20 singles titles, and she got like 50 or 60 titles or some shit like that. Like she, like no one will ever be like her because they're playing all the time with wooden rackets and grass and more natural surfaces. But Martina is free up, and Jeannie's like, hey man, we can get her. If we had a little sweetener, we can get her. And Johnny's girlfriend is the star tennis player on the team. And she says to Jeannie, hey Jeannie, I'm friends with Martina. I'll go talk to her. And Jeannie's like, thank you. And then fast forward a couple of days later, Jeannie's having a conversation with Martina on the phone. And here comes Johnny, all mad. Here's Johnny. And Johnny's like, you traded my girlfriend. Yeah, she did. She traded her girlfriend because she was like, Martina's better and they needed a little sweetener. So he got rid of her. Yeah. And he's like, what is wrong with you? You traded my girlfriend. Yeah. Shut up, Johnny.
I love the line he gives to her. It's a real knife to her. He says the most hurtful thing he can say to her. Says, you could bring him home hundreds of trophies, but you'll never be his favorite son. Yeah. That's how, I think most of her life she had to live with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
and she's one of the only kids to actually bring a title. She's the only kid to bring a title. The last title they won was in before I think Doc died a couple years after Kobe's last title. And then
they won the bubble season, right?
Yeah, but she was the owner for that.
Yeah.
Jim never won a title.
No.
As the head of the, I'm like talking about like the head of the organization, he never won anything ever. He got the last years of Kobe where they were god awful. They drafted very well though. They're very good drafters. I'm not gonna lie to you, like very good, but just everything else just didn't work. She won the title with LeBron in the bubble. It counts. Yes, it does count because if anybody else won it, you would still count it. I hate that it counts because everyone literally was in the same position. No one was given any special privileges, so it counts. So she has a title under her belt. Most of the Lakers titles, most of them, are under Doc Buss. I believe like 15 of them are under him. 15 of them, I think. 15? No, like 12. 12. Because there's the two with Jerry. Yeah, Jerry has 2. And then there's
Jerry only had the one, I thought.
Nah, Jerry had 2.
Oh, I can only remember one.
Unless they won 2 and Jerry only is there for 1. But most of the titles are under Doc Buss. I think it's like over 10. I don't know the number. Doc won most of the titles. Most of the 18 titles they have, or 17 titles they have, is under Doc Buss. And Jeannie's like, hey, I know Johnny was like, you'd never be his favorite son. But Jeannie was cold as too. It's like, that's why I told you not to fuck the asset.
Yep.
She's an asset. She's a commodity. I don't care how you feel. But then he comes back with like, you never be safe, son. But honestly, I think what she said to him was more heartbreaking because it told him, you have no stomach for business.
Mm-hmm.
You are a weak stomach man for business. You can never survive. You will never survive this business. You will never. You're not an asshole. You need to be an asshole. You can't be one.
A little bit.
Yeah. Jim, asshole. Me, asshole. Dad, asshole. You, good person. And in this scenario, you would be the loser. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, right? The good person being the loser.
He just had this conversation told to him by his dad the previous episode.
Yeah, he basically said, you're not a killer.
Yeah,
you're not a killer. You know? And you imagine, you know, your youngest sister basically calling you the B word.
Yeah.
And she means it. And you know she means it. And you know she's kind of right.
Yeah, she's right.
Yeah. And it hurts. It hurts. So there's that. Jerry is in love with Honey.
Yeah.
Jeannie is very perturbed. Rob, what were your thoughts on that one?
Well, you got to remember that Honey is not an actual person. It may be an amalgamation of a couple of ladies and stuff like that. She's not. Yes, she's a character for the show. Important because there are things that happen for this family during the 80s, especially some interesting things, and hopefully future seasons will be able to tie this in more and stuff like that. I like the character of Honey. I think she's fine. I think it's nice to see Jerry trying to settle down, maybe provide more of a home style dynamic, even if it's it might not be the best idea, but he's trying. So it is going to be interesting to see which of his ex-partners this Honey character turns out to be like, or if she really is going to be an amalgamation of the two, because it gets pretty good. It gets pretty good in the 80s, gossip-wise, for Dr. Jerry Buss.
All right. And then the last storyline of the episode. I like going storyline by storyline, Rob, because there's a lot of storyline. Is Magic Johnson and his entire encompassing world.
Yeah.
Magic sees Michael Cooper get an extension.
10 times as much money.
10 times as much money. Now Magic Johnson wants security and extension as well. So he tells Doc Buss and the team, I need the extension. And Doc Buss is thinking about it, but he's being told by management, Bill and Jerry, if this conversation is like, hey man, if you give him this contract, you may alienate people. And when they mean people, they mean Kareem. They mean Kareem.
Yeah.
It's because I'm sorry, like Landsberger's not gonna be mad that Magic Johnson got this big ass contract, because Landsberger's gonna be like, yeah, of course he got that contract.
Sure.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's gonna be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So they talk him through that, and Magic is having conversations with Cookie, and that relationship is kind of like, it ebbs, it flows, it's love, it's hate, it's annoyance, it's why can't you love me? And her saying, I don't want to love you, but I love you because you are going to hurt me. And I know you're going to hurt me. So it's all of that. Your thoughts on and then Rob, and then we're going to talk about that last scene with Norm Nixon at Jerry's house, where they basically
Godfathered him.
Yeah.
That was mobster shit.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that at the end. So, but your initial thoughts on the Magic storyline?
Well, of course, so good. I think what they don't mention is that Magic did ask for a trade at some point during the offseason. I think they've pushed past that, and they've gone into what actually happens with the stuff with Cookie. It looks like she'd be fine having Magic back as long as Magic was in East Lansing, Michigan. And it turns out he doesn't want to be. I think he's getting accustomed to being in the spotlight. He's being accustomed to being not just Irvin Johnson, but Magic Johnson. And
he likes it.
He likes it. He likes this stuff. I think should we talk about now when he goes and talks with Dr. Buss about the contract? Because this was fascinating. When Magic goes in and gets a 25-year, $25 million contract, which doesn't seem outrageous anymore. There was a guy in hockey.
That's a steal.
A guy in hockey
nowadays.
That's $13 million a year.
Yeah, that's
For
a
4
steal
years, hasn't won
nowadays.
shit. Hasn't won nothing.
I actually want to find out what the average. What year was this? 1982?
1981. This 1981. Is the summer of 1981. What the average NBA salary for 1981 is?
No, not even the average. Like, what's $1 million in 1981?
Oh my gosh. It's probably pretty good. I think they said new cars were $5,600 or something like that. So you can buy a couple of cars. But the 25 years of him talking about when he says he's going to be a Laker for life, this is what they meant. Like, long after his playing career is over, he's going to continue to be a part of the Lakers family. He'll be moved into the head offices and stuff like that, which sort of came true as well. But I think he ended up getting paid a little bit more money. Because $1 million a season now is what basically is the minimum wage or whatever. That's the rock bottom that you get paid for being an NBA player. It's around $1 million.
Yeah.
Have we found out how much it's worth?
We're calculating right now, Rob.
Oh my gosh, let's find out.
Damn it! No, I forgot some zeros. Sorry.
Oh my god. There's 6 zeros on the end of $1 million.
It is $3,362,937.29 today. So still a discount for Magic Johnson.
Does not seem like much. It's got to be related to the but you also have to think, no one's paying $1,500 for a ticket to go see the Lakers in 1981.
Yes.
Those tickets are going to be tops $40.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There's the perspective. It's all in perspective.
Yeah. So he gets the deal. But before he gets the deal, there's this intense conversation where it's like, I need to know that you're in this with me. Yeah. We're in this together. We're in this, basically said, we're in this to the death. Yeah. Like with the way this partnership ends is that one of us is dead, basically. Like, and Magic was like, yeah. And Jerry's like, all right. And let's talk about the Godfather scene.
Well, first we should also remember that Magic's coming off that knee injury as well, and they're still not sure if he's going to be able to get back to where he was and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But yes, so Norm Nixon gets invited to go see Dr. Buss.
He's happy as shit.
Yeah, this has been a long time since you and I have just hung out and shot the shit, and we just want to clear the air about everything that happened in the playoffs last year. Oh, and by the way, Magic's here.
Yes.
Have a seat.
Basically.
Yeah, we want to know, if you're with us. If you're with us, well, are you going to be a Laker? Because Magic's here. Magic's going to stay. So Norm Nixon feeling immense pressure to now toe the company line, and he agrees because he was also eating Magic's melon, which is also very nice. Nice of Magic to let him do that. Nice smiley face.
And Magic just basically does psychological warfare on him, where he's being hella serious, and then he stares him down. He's looking down on him. He's like, well, you took my melon. And he takes his melon back. And Norm basically gets castrated, mentally castrated right there, and was like,
he was neutered. He was brought to heel.
Yeah.
By Magic and the dog. So it's this. I guess this is the kind of relationship how the Lakers are going to go. But it's going to make for an interesting conversation, which is coming up between Kareem and Dr. Buss.
Yes, in the preview. But Bob, we like to keep these in like 30 minutes because it's an hour show. 30-minute review is pretty good. I want to send this out before we do our plugs. I want to send us out a little story about the Lakers in the 80s. So I was listening to an interview with Jeff Pearlman where he tells a story about how the Showtime Lakers were dominant, where you find out that Magic Johnson, smiling Magic Johnson, is just as cold-hearted and calculated and will rip your heart out like surly old Larry Bird. They're the same, where he basically says in this interview, I think it's on Oddball with Amino Hassan and Charlotte Wilder, he says this, where it's like, they're the same person. Let me tell you why they're the same person. So there is this center that they drafted in the first round. I think his name was like Solomon Jones. And, he's kind of like out of water. He's kind of like a country bumpkin. He's a country bumpkin. He thinks he's the best. He's a first round pick. He thinks he's the best. And they're doing this. It's practice. And Magic Johnson's like, we'll see if this dude's up to snuff. All right. We'll see. And Magic Johnson goes full Showtime on him. No look passes and passing him, seeing if he's ready, seeing his reactions. And the ball kept hitting Solomon Jones in the head. And Magic gets kind of angry and he's like, hey, if you can't handle this, get the fuck out of here. Get out. We don't need you. Leave. Like he basically says, this first round pick that they drafted, if you ain't up to snuff with this dog, this is Showtime, homie. We have a standard. If you can't play like James Worthy on a weekly night, if you can't play like Kareem on a weekly night, get the fuck out of my gym. Get out of my gym. I'm adding a little bit of sauce to the story, of course. He probably didn't use too many curse words, but Jeff Pearlman says that's what it was, man. He wanted to win. He was black. Larry Bird was white Magic, and Magic was black Larry Bird. They were the same person. They weren't yin and yang.
Right.
They were yang and yang. Or yin and yin, whatever you want to say it.
They're a mirror image.
They were mirror images of each other. And you know what? They're kind of egotistical and narcissistic. You kind of hate people who are like you because you see their faults and you're like, oh, I hate that fault because you hate that fault in yourself. But these two guys love each other. So they love themselves. They love them. The famous Terrell Owens quote, I love me some me. Magic Johnson loves himself some Magic Johnson. And Larry Bird loves himself some Larry Bird. So they're mirror images of each other. So they love each other because they're both in love with themselves.
Sure.
Rob, where can people find you, my man?
You can find me over on Let's Get Ready Network, The Highlights, hosting Starting 11 with our pal Adelia. That's every Tuesday, covering the English Premier League. I cried myself to sleep twice last week over my team Chelsea. And hopefully I won't be able to do that again. But they play Friday this week, so if they do lose, that is a whole lot of crying yourself to sleep. The tears wrinkled my face. It was an embarrassment. My wife didn't want to look at me anymore. So hopefully things will turn around and I can have a half decent weekend for once. You can also see on Sundays over on our Twitch channel, there's LGRN After Snark, the show that Danny and I host, where we just talk about whatever, more of a bar-ish conversation because somebody is always having a drink. Me. So that's Sundays on Twitch. How about you first?
Guys, I want everyone to like this video and subscribe to this channel. We're almost to 900 subscribers. We're like 48 away. So we're almost there. So, share, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your brother, your sister, your lover, your second lover, your third lover.
What is happening? Is it Magic Johnson?
Share it. Just share it. Just share it all around. Every Friday, 3 o'clock on the LGRN Highlights YouTube channel, like Rob. But mine is on Fridays. It's Good Friends, Better Rivals, where we talk American football. Me and Caleb talk NFC East, Giants, Cowboys, as well as a little bit of our arch rivals and the Eagles and the Commanders, as well as every Friday, 8 o'clock Pacific on this channel is the Open Table, where me and Adelia invite you on our weekly dinner party where we have casual conversation. You may get deep. We're always having fun, and I always have a cool non-alcoholic beverage in my hand with my chalice. This week, our special guests, frequent collaborators and friends of the channel, Lunch Break Hot Take, Jose and Brodney will be on, where we're going to have a conversation about Baltimore, content creation.
Carolina, maybe? Carolina.
Maybe Carolina. But there's that. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. Be on the lookout for episode 4 review, and as well, make sure to like this video and subscribe. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.